Good evening. My name is Wendy Baird. First of all, I would like to thank you for the changes you have made in recent months in regard to public participation and engagement, such as giving the board ISD email addresses that can be shared publicly, publishing the procedure to address the board directly on the meetings page, and pushing the deadline to request to speak back 3 days. I understand change is hard, especially for a bureaucratic behemoth like a school district serving 15,000 students, which is why I wanted to note these recent changes and say thank you. However, what I'll be sharing tonight is not new to any of you. I and others have been asking for change for nearly 2 years. While what I've listed above here is a start, I'm here to ask you to do more. So much more. When I requested to speak at tonight's meeting, Ms. Miller informed me I had to wait until the agenda was posted and choose an item or action on it that I would address. The agenda was posted just before noon on Thursday, giving prospective speakers about 29 hours to complete the lengthy process. I ask you, can you prepare a speech, supporting materials and data in 29 hours with your busy schedules? Not many of us can. And it's not just that. What is on the agenda isn't complete or thorough. This policy enforcement means vague and opaque agenda items, as in the case of the June 14th meeting and the item approval of challenged materials review committee recommendation, would not allow any speakers whatsoever on what turned out to be a recommendation to remove a book from elementary school libraries. The topic, the book, the complaint, none of that was shared publicly until after the decision was final. A decision that has not returned as an agenda item since then, which means, as policy is now enforced, members of the public would have never been allowed to speak on it, no matter their position. Tonight, I'm assuming I can speak on any board policy because the agenda that I must speak to reads approval of changes to Board of Education policies. I do not know what policies are affected or if it's the first or second reading. I don't know what the proposed changes are, so I may speak on any policy I wish, correct? Correct. Because there are 23 pages of changes I received 10 minutes ago, but only because I special request a board packet before every board meeting. Everything I'm speaking about here tonight may be out of date in 20 minutes. The same may be true of speakers tonight addressing the proposed calendars the public does not have access to before they're approved, let alone before the public participation deadline has passed. I do believe your enforcement of policy 0412 as written is a good thing. Policies are there to be followed. However, the policy highlights the disconnect between our board voicing that you want to hear from the ISD community and actually allowing us to be heard in a public format. Your actions do not currently match your words. I'm told that the reason for the lack of transparency and accessibility, like open agenda packets and broadcasted meetings, is due to legal liability. If that is the case, what does ISD's legal team know that nearly every other local Missouri school district does not? Because they all do a far better job of transparency, accessibility, and community engagement than we do. Striking differences I shared with you in June 2021 at bit.ly/BOEspeak. The only change during this time was to move the deadline 3 days, so that enforcing the policy as it is currently written usually allows the agenda to be posted before speaking requests are due. Yet Missouri law only requires agendas be posted 24 hours before meetings. Does the board commit to always releasing the agenda before the speaking deadline? I hope that is included in your policy update, but I ask why you're making things difficult on yourself. Things change, new items need to be added, as was the case in February when after an incident documented on social media, the agenda was amended to add an additional policy change. I would also like to address board policy 6241, challenge materials. That policy reads in part, the book shall not be prescribed nor removed from library shelves or classrooms on the basis of partisan approval or disapproval. Removal of a book for the mere mention of a non-binary young adult is partisan. Nearly all book challenges right now are regarding LGBTQIA+ and or racial issues.
1 minute.
And there is only one partisan group behind those challenges. No matter your intention, your tacit approval of that removal was also partisan. Yet, even if you recognize that perhaps your decision did not reflect your own policy, now or in the future, that same policy has made it difficult for a board to ever rethink a decision. A hand-selected committee with board approval is allowed to make a decision that is essentially forever. There is no procedure laid out to revisit books that were removed, even if 50 years have passed or if the board realizes it has made a mistake. So again, I ask you, why do you make it harder on yourself? Allow open engagement, full transparency, and recourse to revisit decisions that are not the right ones for our community. Reflect, engage, improve. It all comes back to policy. While policy needs to be enforced, bad policy also needs to change. Happy Election Day. Thank you.